for joining me again for another Pixie Talks review vlog.
Pixie Talks, reviews and vlogs at Pixie Talks. Pixie Talks, reviews and vlogs at Pixie Talks.
Woo! I know I have been pretty silent for this last little while. I do apologize. I got hit with a pretty nasty flu and was sick for about 3 weeks straight. And it kind of killed all of my energy and motivation to do anything, including making reviews. So I've only just kind of started to get back into the swing of things. I was going to do a review of Captain America Civil War, but I couldn't motivate myself to get into the enormous fandom debate that is Civil War. It exhausts me just thinking about it. That said, I did manage to watch an awful lot of Netflix during my lackadaisical downtime, and I am really excited to talk about a show that I fell absolutely madly in love with. Let's talk about Hannibal. Okay, so lately I have been really getting into pseudo-horror and weird fiction. It's just kind of a bit of an appeal to the exploration of the macabre that I have been finding really intriguing lately. Unsettling and thought-provoking, Hannibal delivers a lot of that with its dark and macabre narrative. Now, I have never seen the Silence of the Lambs movies. I've always been somewhat curious to, since they are such classics, and the Hannibal character has always sounded very intriguing to me. However, I'm really kind of a wimp when it comes to horror, so I never quite mustered up the courage to watch Silence of the Lambs. And so it was with absolutely no prior experience with the Silence of the Lambs franchise that I went into Hannibal. Hannibal stars Hugh Dancy as the protagonist, Will Graham. Will is a crime scene investigator with a unique ability. He can recreate the events of a crime scene in his mind, imagining himself in the place of the murderer and figuring out both their motives and methods via extreme empathy. But this takes a very heavy mental toll on him. Enter Mads Mikkelsen as Hannibal Lecter, the psychiatrist that Will sees to discuss his mental and emotional states. What's really unique about this show is the way that it is told, with the audience privy to details that the characters are not. It would not really be uncommon to have a story with a twist at the end that one of the main characters was actually bad. But in this case, it's not a twist exactly. We all know that Hannibal is a murderer and a cannibal. What's interesting is knowing that and still managing to become engaged with the characters and their interactions and their relationships. Watching as Will and Hannibal become close, fully knowing that Hannibal is one of the murderers that Will is trying to catch, even as they discuss crime scene investigations. And it's a dynamic that really wouldn't have been able to be carried well unless it had extremely good writing and acting, both of which the show has in spades. The writing is engrossing and pulls you in despite its dark tone and gruesome subject matter. It's like a glorious train wreck that you just can't look away from. And the actors absolutely blew me away with their incredible performances. I hadn't seen either in much before, so I really wasn't sure what to expect from Dancy or Mikkelsen. But both of them were absolutely amazing in their roles. There are so many layers to the performance of each character, as each character is usually operating behind social masks and pretended identities. And it absolutely floored me. Aside from the intriguing nature of the narrative and storytelling, there is an amazing amount of atmosphere and tone set by the visuals in this series. In the visual design, everything is just slightly on the side of a little off and unsettling. The world of Hannibal looks mostly like ours, but it's just a little darker in a lot of places. Add to that the symbolism and the dream and hallucination sequences, and you've got just a visually impacting show. And then there's the food sequences. Hannibal only is a cannibal, but he is also a major fine dining foodie. He cooks the most elaborate meals in his home and regularly entertains guests. It's understood by the audience that he's serving, well, people, but there's no denying that the meals he cooks look absolutely delicious. It's like the Food Network, but with murder. If you could just get Hannibal to cook, like, not people for you, his food would be exquisite. The show is dark and disturbing in an awful lot of ways, but it's also majorly complex and compelling. It explores the themes of life and death in tandem with exploring the concepts of love and murder, and it's just a breathtaking piece of artistry. It's certainly not going to be for everyone, as it is definitely very creepy and unsettling. But if you can handle a little bit of gore and the darker tones of the atmosphere, it is amazing. It is probably one of the best shows I have ever had the pleasure of watching. It is a masterfully told narrative that delves deep into psychology and human connection, and I'm absolutely in love with it. And that's it for my review of Hannibal. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry again for the long radio silence. Join me next time for my thoughts on the new World of Warcraft movie. I'll see you then. Bye!